Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and welcome back to the AFI project. Today, it's time for us to buy some Red Apple cigarettes and head to our local McDonald's in Amsterdam. It's Pulp Fiction. This was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, we all know who he is, and this movie stars a crap ton of people. Basically, this movie stars a lot of actors who either already were stars or were about to be stars in the coming years. So, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to read them off IMDb. John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Ving Rhames, Rosanna Arquette, Eric Stoltz. And to try and explain the plot of this movie is a bit tricky, because I don't really think there is one solid plot that this movie follows throughout. There are like 3 or 4 stories happening at about the same time, chopped up and told out of order, basically. The 2 main constants of the movie, however, are Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta, and Julius Winfield, played by Samuel L. Jackson. They are both hitmen working for Marcellus Wallace, played by Ving Rhames. They're asked to get a certain package that is of very great importance to Marcellus Wallace, and, well, it turns out to be a lot harder than they imagined. That's probably the most consistent through line through all of this, but it's very idiosyncratic. After making Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino wanted to make short films, a trilogy of short films to be specific, but he really wasn't sure what the short films were going to be about. That's when his partner in writing this screenplay, Roger Avery, helped him to create some premises and then narrow the focus on those. Chances are that if you've never seen this movie, you know of it in some capacity. You've seen tributes to it, or caricatures of it, or have heard Samuel L. Jackson quote various lines from it in some capacity. Basically, Pulp Fiction is Quentin Tarantino's most famous movie, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I also think it's his best. I think Pulp Fiction is Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece, and that is undisputed. I will accept the premise that there are other Tarantino movies that may be better. Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained definitely spring to mind. But I think just on the whole, if you want a distillation of everything Tarantino, Pulp Fiction is your hookup. I try and watch this movie once every year, and every time that I watch this movie, I find something new. It's rare when that happens to me with a movie, because if I watch a movie a couple times over, I know what to expect. I like what's coming, but I know what's going to happen. But whenever I watch Pulp Fiction, whenever I think I know something's about to happen, my mind immediately remembers, oh, we gotta get to that first. And going back to what I was saying earlier about this movie being very idiosyncratic, in that this movie is basically told out of order. The first scene that we see in this movie is not the first scene of this movie. As a matter of fact, that first scene takes place just about near the middle chapter. We basically start in the middle, we jump to the end, go back to the middle, then to the beginning, and so on and so forth for nearly 2 hours. For a lesser director, this would just tank the movie. But Quentin Tarantino makes it work through incredible acting and even better dialogue. What makes this dialogue so great? Well, it doesn't feel like dialogue. It doesn't feel like these actors are reading their lines off of a script. I feel like the direction that Tarantino gave was like, okay, John, Sam, talk about stuff. Go. That's why we have memorable scenes like the McDonald's from Amsterdam stuff, or Julius Winfield's ethics on how to apply a proper foot massage. He's the foot effing master, after all. Heck, the first scene that we see of Vincent Vega and Julius Winfield is when they're going to get this briefcase for Marcellus Wallace. They're in the car together, and they talk about the aforementioned McDonald's from Amsterdam, the concept of TV pilots. They just talk about random stuff. They don't even go do their job until they say, it's too soon. Let's walk and talk a little. And they go walk and talk, and then they come back, and then they do their thing. Honestly, not doing it justice. This movie has a very loose structure, but it was planned that way from the very beginning. The movie commits itself to its loose structure so much that it just kind of feels like jazz. At a certain point, you're just like, I'm not sure what's happening, but I like it, so I'm just going to go with it. My favorite scene in this movie, and I think that if it were put in any other movie, it would probably be a deleted scene, but it fits so well in the movie, is when Vincent Vega takes Mia Wallace out to dinner at Jackrabbit Slim's. I love this entire scene, from when Vincent Vega goes to pick her up, which is done to the incredible song Son of a Preacher Man. Also, side note, the soundtrack in this movie is incredible, one of the greatest of all time. Vincent Vega picks up Mia Wallace, they go to Jackrabbit Slim's. He's like, I want a steak. And Mia's like, oh, come on, don't be a square. And she literally does this, and a cartoon square appears with her fingers. It's kind of nuts. And then when you walk into Jackrabbit Slim's, it's this 1950s throwback restaurant with a guy doing an Ed Sullivan impression. The waiters are Marilyn Monroe and Buddy Holly. They take orders in their respective voices. Like, Buddy Holly is basically, when he asks for Mia Wallace's order, she's like, what do I get for you, Peggy Sue? Even the way that Vincent and Mia order their food is just so much fun. Steak, 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 steak. Ah, skirt steak. Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell? Bloody and, vanilla Coke. Durwood Kirby burger, bloody, and a $5 shake. Did you just order a $5 shake? That's just still milk and ice cream, right? No liquor in it? Just the prospect of Vincent Vega being blown away by a $5 milkshake is just, I can't explain it. It's just really cool. And then they continue talking, with Mia Wallace talking about how she was in a TV pilot called Fox Force 5, where they were 5 foxy chicks. I gotta admit, I'd watch that show. And then the scene comes to an end, or so you think, with John Travolta dancing for the first time since Grease to the incredible Chuck Berry song, You Never Can Tell. I hope I live long enough to where I can cut a rug like John Travolta does in this movie, because this twist is just a life goal. I'm not even going to talk about what happens after this, because it's somehow even crazier, but again, that would be delving too deep into spoilers. I feel sort of weird talking about this movie, because I feel like my review of it is just not going to do it justice. This movie just needs to be seen to be believed. I'll end it with this. Pulp Fiction is a treasure trove. Just when you think you have discovered everything, something new pops up. Like Christopher Walken talking about how he shoved a gold watch up his butt. It works in the movie, I promise. Everything that happens with Marcellus Wallace and Butch Coolidge and, the thing that starts with a G that rhymes with pimp. What I'm trying to get at is that I don't think that a movie like this could ever be made again, for a variety of reasons. But this movie is essentially Quentin Tarantino's mind on the screen for about 2 hours. And if you have not seen it, I can't recommend this movie enough. One thing that I will say, though, is that this movie's very much a hard R. There's a lot of language, a lot of violence, sometimes funny violence, but violence nonetheless. The thing with the G word that rhymes with pimp, which that's just a mind-boggling thing, even though I've seen this movie numerous times. And let's just say, definitely do not take your kids to see this, but if you think you have enough stomach for it, like I said, I can't recommend it enough. That is all from me. Thank you so much as always for watching. Next time on the AFI Project, I believe, as of this recording, there's 6 more movies that I've got to cover for this. Wow, that's just crazy to think about. But anyway, next time on the AFI Project, we are going back to the early 70s to cover a movie from Peter Bogdanovich, and it is called The Last Picture Show. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.